Order. James Shaw.
Mr. Speaker, it's a great honour for me to speak on behalf of the Green Party in this adjournment debate. Calm down, fellas, calm down. And I thank my colleagues for the privilege. I became an MP only 12 weeks ago, a period of time that seems both very fleeting and also very long. I'd like to talk about some of the things I've learned about Parliament and about politics during those weeks. Mr. Speaker, the first thing that I've learned is that whilst many of the things that we have provenance over are deeply mundane, such as the Accounting Infrastructure Bill, Parts 1 through 4, some are indeed matters of great national and international import, such as the Countering Terrorist Fighters legislation, passed in this House yesterday after several minutes of careful consideration and thoughtful debate. This bill is designed to stop New Zealanders from going to fight for the Islamic State, who are fighting the Iraqi government, who we support, and will shortly be sending the military over to help them fight the Islamic State, which definitely won't have any New Zealanders fighting with them because we said so yesterday. We also support Saudi Arabia, who also support the Islamic State, who are fighting the government of Iraq, who we also support. The Middle East is a very supportive environment right now. Our military will feel well supported when they get over there. I'll tell this House whom we don't support, and that's President Assad in Syria. We do support some of the freedom fighters who are fighting against President Assad, who are primarily led by the Islamic State, but we don't support the Islamic State. We also don't support Iran, who also don't support the Islamic State, and who do support the government of Iraq, who we do support. This mess was largely created by a coalition of the willing, which we were unwilling to support, which invaded Iraq for two reasons: looking for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, and to drive out terrorists who weren't there until the coalition went in to drive them out. And into this hornet's nest, the Beehive proposes to send a contingent of the New Zealand Defence Force, perhaps under the Anzac banner, which may be appropriate because as far as military adventures go, this one looks like a real winner. It may be just as well that we're passing legislation that's designed to keep us safe from ourselves. Mr. Speaker, I've also learned that journalists do actually ask questions like, have you ever smoked cannabis? My answer to that was no, absolutely not, never. Of course I was answering generally rather than specifically, but it's true, I have never inhaled in my capacity as a list MP. My office may have taken drugs in the past, I don't know, I'm not accountable for it. But at the end of the day, what I can say is that I am extremely relaxed. Mr. Speaker, the people here have been very friendly. The people at Parliamentary Services who put on an excellent induction program, who set up our offices, our IT, our finances, travel and accommodation. The staff at the restaurants who feed us when we are in a hurry. The ushers who look after us in the house. And the cleaners who tidy up after us at the end of a long day. On behalf of all of us who entered Parliament for the first time this September, and on behalf of my Green colleagues, thank you. The National Party MPs have been especially warm. Almost every time they mention me in the media, they talk about me as a leadership contender for the Green Party. And it's very gracious of them to do that without any trace of malice or ulterior motive. Especially since Matiria and Russell have led the Green Party and doubled the size since 2008, and I can barely make it into this House with a tie on. I would particularly like to thank the Honourable Chris Finlayson for his praise and return the favour by asking the National Party to consider that member as the next leader after the current one steps down early next year. The Honourable Chris Finlayson has great integrity, a respect for parliamentary process, precision, a sharp mind and a clear memory. Characteristics that we are looking for in a Prime Minister. Minister Finlayson, has other qualities too that many people don't see. A great tolerance for chit-chat, humility, empathy, a connection with real New Zealanders. He can speak to and for the Kiwi battlers of Huntly. As the Attorney General himself might say, Ficisti patriam diversus de gentibus unam. Mr. Speaker, the House is about to rise for the summer recess, which revolves around the tradition of Christmas. I imagine that, after this speech, I, for one, will be begging for forgiveness. And it's on that theme that I'd like to conclude. I said in my maiden speech, only 7 weeks ago, that we must transcend and transform our petty politics and our partisanship. I said that to get unstuck, we will all need to let go of some things and to be more committed to finding the answers than to being right or to others being wrong. The intervening weeks have not disillusioned me of that belief. They have reinforced it. To a new observer, it may seem that we are stuck in a never-ending downward spiral of attack and defend that serves only to revolt the public at large and to turn them off from participating in the political process or even to bother voting. Mr. Speaker, one of the 4 principles of the Green Party Charter is that of non-violence. This is not simply an absence of physical violence. It is the method of social change given to us by Mahatma Gandhi, who preached ahimsa, the lack of desire to harm or to kill, and by Martin Luther King, who drew from the Christian tradition. It's through these principles and practices that we can transcend and transform the stuck situation that we seem to find ourselves in. Let's take the summer recess to consider ways that we might work together to fix this, to bring integrity and functionality to our political process, to restore New Zealanders' faith in who we are and the work we do here. As this most sordid of political years draws to a close and the House rises for the Christmas break, I offer this. In the Sermon on the Plain, Jesus is reported in the Gospel of Luke to have said, "But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them that despitefully use you. And unto him that smiteth thee on the one cheek, offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also. Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask for them not again. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise." Mr. Speaker, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.